Hello, everybody! Hey, well, you know I can't ever do just one manga in a night. I have to do like 7. And as you can see, I am getting to... Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Or pick up a girl in a dungeon? No, let's pick up girls in a dungeon. No, what's right? Which is weird because it turns out it's just a girl, and he's not even trying to pick her up in a dungeon. He's just trying to get more powerful in a dungeon. Gonna get to it in a bit. So, to talk about what this manga is about, it's kind of long-windedly stupid. And also, I'm going to quickly show or explain I don't like this all that much. I didn't like it. Maybe I need to have read the light novels. I knew that there are light novels for it, and I actually did go over the ones in Overlord, and also went more into those, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good and everything. Maybe the light novels helped to explain a few things. Though it wasn't exactly the issue of not explaining things. This has the problem that I kind of brought up in my Hero Academia Volume 7 review. There's so much world building that this has to do very early on, and in fact there's whole blips where we have to take off, where we have to talk about the world and how it works, but at the same time it's so uninteresting. Like, I can't tell you how generic this is. To sum it all up, there is this world where there are monsters. Sorry. And there is this dungeon, and they go fight them. Why? Money? Fame? The gods decree? I don't know. It's never explained 100% as well as it wants to. Why people are going into this dungeon. Why they do what they do. And that's kind of an issue. Like, it spends a lot of time talking about the dungeon. It spends a lot of time talking about how these people are able to keep getting more and more powerful, which it turns out there are gods on this earth, or as they call them. And they refer to many humans as kids, simply because I guess we don't live as long and or weird shit like that. And I think this is trying really hard to be a smart take on an RPG and try to explain RPG mechanics, even though it doesn't do them well. Alright, so when I talk about RPG, I should more refer to it in both the classical but also in the video game sense. And I will be approaching this a little bit more from video game sense, simply because I'm not as much of a pen and paper RPG person. Not that I don't like them or anything, just I have a lot more experience with video games. So, to quickly sum up the story, there is this one kid, his name is Bell. He is our main character. He is this white-haired gentleman that they keep referring to as blonde, which I like to tell them, blonde is not white. Though, ironically enough, in that light it almost looked whitish. Fuck me, I guess. But he is fighting in all these dungeons because he is fighting for this young lady. Her name is Hestia. And yes, if you have picked up that is also I want to say it's a Norse god, if I'm not mistaken, or Norse goddess, technically. It's like, trust me, the book does even more of that. Like, there's a god named Loki. Can you guess where they pulled the gods' names from? I'm gonna get to that in a second. But Bell pretty much fights for Hestia, and he ends up, he's the only person, and she's poor, and somehow they make money through what he does, but she also works on the side job by selling stuff. I don't know if this knows what it wants to do. It spends a lot of time building up the reason why the gods are on Earth, and why they're helping people, or why they're, that they're the reason why people level up. But in the same instance, there's some things that that run contradictory to that, which causes problems within the novel itself. So yay for me. So to talk real quick about how leveling up works in this, because the book spends a lot of time into it, because that's what I was so worried about in RPGs. I wasn't worried about why the world is the way it is or anything like that. No, I just want to know how you level up. If sarcasm is not really hard, or is really hard to find in my voice, let me just tell you, I'm being very fucking sarcastic here. I don't know why the book spends a shit ton of time telling us about, oh, the gods use their blood, it's this ichor, and they can give you spells, and pretty much it's like tattooing onto people's backs. And it's like, but why? And what does that matter? And why do I care that this is happening? Just a quick excerpt to, explain, it's like, oh, they do this, and it helps to bestow the gods gifts that they wish to bestow upon them, and they're fun things. But in the same instance, I don't need page after page and then supplementary pages later on about it, or other stuff constantly talking about it. It's like, I don't care how people level up. That's not the thing that's ever bothered me when it comes to an RPG. Like, a person constantly fighting and getting better fits so easily into normal human mentality. It's like, okay, if I give somebody a gun and I tell them, you have 1,000 rounds, just you need to hit that target. By the 1,000th round, they've probably hit the target more times than they've missed, because they're gonna get better. Plain fucking simple science I don't need to have explained to me. Or the fact that somebody keeps fighting stuff and they slowly get better and better, or get slightly faster, and this or shit. It's like, I don't care. And I am just gonna throw it out there also with this book. Like, I was sort of drawn to the classic kind of manga style artwork, but dear God, there is times in this book is butt ugly. Like, it's not levels of, trying not to piss off too many people here, but early Berserk, where, some of it looks a lot on the silly side, where, hey, he chopped that guy in half, but somehow his other half is still hanging in the air, and his other half, or his bottom half, is already falling on the ground. Science something, please. Or where Berserk, like, its biggest problem was that it's a little too detailed at times. Where like, okay, I almost can't tell because I was assuming fucking hatch marks. Here, this has the problem that Tokyo Ghoul had a lot, where sometimes there's no faces on characters. It's like, okay, well, why does the character not have a face? Sometimes the character pretty much models that they draw are super fucking basic. Like, there's this party at one point that it's a total sidetrack where we had to see that Hestia has this hate on against Loki for reasons I don't give a shit about. But yeah, there's people in the background, but instead of either just kind of mushing them together and making, this kind of like general people look, it's like it's an amorphous blob, in the best way of putting it. They decide they're going to sort of give them facial expressions and bodies, but it's just like, it's a completely white silhouette. I don't know how else to describe it. It's kind of bizarre. It just, oh, here it is. Yeah, and I know it's like, it's meant just to be like a little bit of background people over here, but it's one of those times where it's like, but why? Everything else has been, you purposely detailed these things. Now this isn't, you're not detailing. Or these other things. Okay, why'd you not detail this? The artwork is, like I said, it's very hit or miss. And there's a lot more misses than there are hits. And on top of everything, because the story's not super interesting, because I would say probably at least a third of it is Hestia dealing with the fact that she's jealous because Bell kind of has the hots for this other girl that he wants to eventually level up to be her level because she saved him. But even then, it's like he never straight up just says like he really wants to, I want to stick my wiener in her. But he seems a little bit more interested, and also it doesn't help Bell as your prototypical anime guy or lead anime character. He's kind of a hothead, but he's a nice guy. Not saying that guys need to be dicks, but it's just he's so bland. He's a marshmallow in terms of complete nerve, just blandness. I barely remembered his fucking name half the time I was reading it. He's just forgettable as all hell, and you sympathize with his plight and the fact that he wants to get stronger, not just for this girl that he's trying to impress, but also because he wants to almost repay the favor. It's like, okay, that can be something I can get behind, but at the same time, he just goes about it in the ways that you would exactly think, and it's not interesting. And Hestia is so prepubescently just obnoxious. Like, she's overtly jealous because, oh, he has the hots for this girl. So, why don't you say, nope, you're going to have sex with me? I mean, sure, that's rape, but, it's like, yeah, if you have a problem, fucking say something. I just don't get it. Again, there's a lot that I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to pretty much explain how an RPG even would work in a realistic sense. But in the same instance, you have not very interesting characters because your main character is Belle and he's just such a fucking wet rag on everything. And then you have Hestia, who is quick to anger, and she's your prototypical anime, like, friend girl who wants to have sex with the main character, but for some reason is too unwilling to say something. I get that might be a little bit more to do with Japanese culture, but in the same instance, it feels like Hestia might be her own worst enemy in a lot of this. I don't know, it's left a terrible taste in my mouth. It's not even that this is the worst manga I've ever read. Just, it's easily one of the most forgettable ones. Like, I've had to reread this a few times just to remember what the fuck even happened in this. You have way too much world building to the point to where the characters that this world is supposed to be so great and enormous, it's supposed to be held on their shoulders, and they're just not interesting, so it crushes them. And that's the problem. It's like, Deku being a nice kid, he's also a nerd. He's at least also got an interesting cast of characters around him. I mean, hell, you feel for him like hell, because you're like, poor kid. Even Ichigo from Bleach, he's a little bit formulaic, but at least he had something to him. And also, by that same token, the guy from Blue Exorcist. Yeah, that's one of those mangas I'm going to just read the first one. Like, well, I read Bleach. Thanks again. Glad you got me to introduce that to myself twice. And hell, the Ulrich brothers from Full Metal Alchemist, they're interesting. Fucking Light Yagami from Death Note, he's got a lot of interesting different things about him, even though he could be very, very bland if you don't write him properly. After 5-7. Oh, got some in my throat there. Just here, you have too much of a bland character's tropes to the point to where it needs to lean on these tropes so that way it can try and go into this mythos and this world building. But by the time it finishes world building, you don't give a fuck. You just don't have any shits left to give. You're just, by the time you get done, you're just like, well, I finished it. That I can give it. I don't know. Those who have read the light novel or have read more than just this volume, let me know if I'm a bit off base. If I'm, nowhere close. I'd be willing to give this a bit more of a try if maybe better, more is explained in the light novels. In fact, I might even break down and do a light novel review if y'all tell me it's actually a lot better and explains a lot more things in better ways. Especially why the gods do this. I also might have skipped over, or maybe I just kept blocking it out, the reason why they go to the dungeon. I don't care. That's also the other thing. It's like they want to explain it, but sometimes I'm like, I just say that they're needing to level up because they can trade in their levels for money or something. I don't know. Anything's better than what they ended up doing, which instead was just it's just a bland book, and that's the best thing I can say about it. Like as bland and as pasty white as this is, it's just as bland and pasty as fucking mayonnaise. Excuse me, and also has way too much aioli. Well, aioli, mayonnaise isn't aioli, technically. It has too much eggs. So, yeah. Is it wrong to pick up Girls in Dungeon? Not necessarily wrong, but it is really boring. Like I said, this is going to be it unless y'all happen to say, it's like, oh yeah, the light novels are actually really good, or if you want to explain, give me some comments, let me know it's like where I'm off base, because I'm pretty sure I might be. So, hey, that might be it. It's the best thing I can say. If y'all love it, cool. Not for me. But hey, I need to talk about something, and also a particular company in this instance, here just in a moment about something that's been seen on the back burner for a little bit. So until then, I'll see y'all here in just a moment. So bye-bye, everybody.